Hey everybody, it's Tim Sackett, and I'm back to talk about using video to attract more talent. So, if you don't know who I am, I'm a TA expert, author of the book called The Talent Fix. You can find it on Amazon. And I write on my blog, The Tim Sackett Project, every single day for the last 10 years, talking about recruiting technology, recruiting execution, talent acquisition, dynamics, and all of that stuff. So, you can check me out on some of that. So, what do we talk about video? One is I'm the guy that every time you take a screenshot of a video, I have some weird face going on, and yeah, I look like an idiot. But it doesn't stop us from saying, hey, video's really effective, and we should use more of it when we're recruiting and talent acquisition. So why should we, right? Well, what we know is that video creates much more engagement. If you have a video and a job posting, it's getting 3 to 4 to 5 times more impact and engagement than it does if you don't have something like that when you're doing it, right? And then also, we know that candidates actually click through. We know right now, especially with Gen Z and younger millennials, that they actually consume much more short range video than almost any other content that's out there. Think about TikTok, think about YouTube and the growth of those channels. So as recruiting pros, talent acquisition pros, we have to use much more of that than we do currently. So I have 5 video strategies that I think obviously will help you recruit better, attract more talent, and then keep more talent as well. The last strategy, we'll talk about that as you know. So let's get into it and talk about those 5 strategies. Strategy number one. Well, before we get into the strategies, one of the issues we have with video, right, is this concept of we always think like, oh, I don't look good enough, Tim. Like, we're not pretty enough for our team to do this. And I'm calling BS. I think that you're way more good looking enough than what you think, or you might have really pretty people that work for you. Whatever. What I find is the older you are, and I'm a Gen X, right? Older millennials, Gen X, baby boom, we get so consumed with how we look on video. Where I have 3 Gen Z sons. I know a lot of younger millennials that like they're so used to being on video on their phones that they don't even care, and so they're much more easily able to produce and do these videos without really being, in fact, thinking that they're going to be crazy about it. So we have to really think about that, right? One of the things that we know is that employer branding videos, recruiting videos, they really come into 2 types. One is the real transparent, like, hey, this is who I am right now. Or, wait a minute, are you guys really that pretty? It seems like a commercial, right? Like way more than what it should be. And that's one of the issues we have is it shouldn't be overly produced. Hey, great if you have the budget and the wherewithal to have really great recruiting videos that are professionally produced. Good for you, but it doesn't have to be that. In fact, candidates don't expect that from career offices, in terms of talent acquisition offices, recruiting offices, things of that sort. There's no expectation that that's what's going to be. But there is an expectation that we will be real and transparent. And when they see a commercial, many times, like you think of those recruiting commercials, and I'm not going to call out any brands or anything, but we do the commercials where they have the old guy and the young girl and the black man and the dude in the wheelchair. And you're like, is that real? Now, again, it might be real for their organization in terms of saying, hey, we're inclusive and we want to make everyone feel welcome. But it seems a little forced, right? In terms of having like this United Benetton colors, commercial happening within your employment space, where it's not normally that way for most organizations, right? Great that you want to go out there and show, hey, we're an inclusive organization. We want to welcome everybody. Good for you. But it seems like it's forced sometimes when we're overly producing the commercial. So be real, be transparent, be who you are. Now, again, the key is be the best version of who you truly are, right? We all have that cancer person in our organization. You're like, yeah, look, we're not putting Tim on video. He's a little crazy. Don't do that. Find the people that love you, love your brand, love working for you, put them on video. So the one way I love this kind of technology is it also allows candidates to ask questions and get real answers. All True Labs is one of the companies that comes out and does this, where if I'm a candidate, I can go and say, I can click and say, what does your paid time off look like? Or do you guys really encourage people to develop themselves for vacation? And that question goes to a real employee who then comes back and is able to answer that question in video and send that to a candidate. Now, You also get to vet those questions, right? So if someone said something you don't want to, you could say, hey, can you get rid of that, re-record, and kind of go through. But what candidates love about that is that it's a real person giving a real answer about your environment and what's happening. And so they love that kind of aspect of what's going on. Okay, let me get to those 5 strategies. Strategy number 1 is using video with an employee advocacy, kind of like we just talked about, which is, hey, how do we get video out, a piece of video out? So it could be, let's say you have a hard to fill job. You come up with the job. We all have our own, right? And you go to that hiring manager, or you go to somebody actually doing that job in your company and say, hey, in 30 seconds, in 15 seconds, 60 seconds, whatever it might be, tell me why you love working here in this profession or this job or whatever it is. Why is this job here better than working for somebody else, whatever that might be, right? And then what you do then is have a group of employee advocates. Maybe it's 10 if you start in a small company. Maybe it's 100. Everybody starts employee advocates small and then grows. And then you share that video with them. And then that allows them to share that video on their social channels, whether that's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, whatever that might be. They can start uploading videos and saying, hey, this is what we are. And again, you can do some quick embeds of, hey, let's put a link on there where people can go and apply for this job, or in the comments, put this down. We can actually go through and tell our employee advocates, this is how we actually do this, and share that experience. What we find is when we have employee advocates, they actually really love sharing things about their work, and especially when they can highlight a coworker or a peer that's in the video. And also, again, the key for us is to make it super easy for them to actually share this video. So if you had a simple video that you did and you had somebody come in and just do some simple kind of iMovie or, any kind of like really quick production on it, doesn't have to be overly difficult. And if you're sitting there watching this going, Tim, like, I can't do any of that. Hey, find a 21-year-old person in your company. They could probably do it. And my kids do this stuff for me all the time. I'll send them a video and say, hey, can you throw up a title and a bumper and blah, blah, blah. And like, they look at me, they roll their eyes, and within 3 minutes, they send it back to me. So I know if I just took the time to learn it, that it wouldn't be that difficult. In fact, I actually have done some of this myself. So if I can do it, you can do it. But we have to make it easy. So then you upload into YouTube, send people a link to share. Like, there's so many simple ways to kind of do this. What I'll tell you is the more rules you put around sharing and how you do this, the least amount of activity you're going to get with it. Start really low rules and just test, right? Hey, we have a pretty safe video. You guys just go share it, right? And see what happens, right? And start to measure, kind of how that's coming back and what we're seeing from it, what the engagement looks like from all of that. And again, the best way is to, there's a lot of like great video technology out there where you can actually give them an easy button to be able to share and reshare a lot of this in terms of employee advocacy. So it's the number one way I love using video, because I think our employees, especially those who you would consider employee advocates, love sharing video when it comes to that. Strategy number 2 is the video job posting. I mentioned this in the introduction, but if you use and actually embed video into a job posting, and don't say to yourself, Tim, our ATS doesn't do that. If you have an ATS that was built in the last 10 years, there is a way for you to embed a video within that job posting. Not the job description, the job posting, right? So that when you go on your career site and someone says, hey, I want to apply for this great IT job at ABC company, you should be able to get a widget and embed that. Now, again, you might not be able to, but your ATS provider can help you and show you whatever technology they might have, or somebody that they can actually connect with and integrate with and implement to be able to add video. But most modern ATSs now allow you to actually put a video file within a job posting, and then you can have that on your career site. Why would you do that, right? Well, again, 40% more applicants with job postings that have video than those who don't, and even higher engagement. The other piece of it is they spend so much more time on your site and actually on that job posting if you have a video compared to just text job description or job posting. Hiring managers and team videos really have the most impact. So if you can go out and say, you have a posting, there's a job, you go to the hiring manager and say, what are you looking for in a person? Or why are you the manager they should want to work for? Why do you develop people better than everybody else in our organization? You can come up with 100 different questions to ask. The key is to make it short and sweet and impactful for the person that's actually going to watch that, right? And again, it doesn't have to be overly produced. You can sit down in front of a hiring manager, make sure they have some good lighting. So put them in front of a window, whatever that might be. If you have a circle light that you can buy, or, it's really inexpensive. And then take your iPhone and say, okay, hey, I'm going to start, go. Oh, I screwed up. Okay, bam, we're going to delete that. We're going to do another one. Let's keep going at it. So a really easy way to do that. Number 3, video screening gives everybody a shot. I love the aspect of being able to use video to video screen. Now, what's screening versus interviewing? And we'll talk about both. That happens to be the next one. Video technology that screens candidates, what it does is allow every candidate who applies to actually then upload or answer a few questions and actually do some screening, right? So you might say, tell us why, your experience for this position, is good, or whatever it might be, whatever question you have, right, for screening questions. And then it allows them to actually, it gives them a countdown, and they can go and they just go. Now, why does this matter? Well, if you think about everybody that applies to your job, and let's say you have 10, 20, 50, 1,000, whatever that might be, it truly allows a candidate to believe that, hey, I was able to put my best foot forward by uploading this video and showing the hiring manager. Now, again, more than likely the TA team is still going to have to go through and screen and get through all these, but it really does allow somebody to put their best foot forward and show what they can do. Again, all of the screening technology is smartphone enabled, so you can use your mobile device to say, hey, here we go. And what we know now is for the most part, almost every single person that's going to apply to our jobs has a cell phone and has the ability to kind of do some of this video. Again, it delivers a much more diverse slate of candidates as we move forward. So because it allows candidates, again, to everybody to get into the opportunity to go. We're not like just looking at text-based, applications or text-based resumes and making that determination. We can actually go through and say, oh my gosh, Tim Sackett is a female. I would never have got that from his name. And we're looking for a female engineer. Like, this is awesome. I'm going to make sure I share this with my manager, whatever that might be. Again, using video for good, not evil. Sometimes we get overly concerned that, hey, if we use video, someone's going to make a biased decision. Well, what if they make the biased decisions for the good, is my push to you. Number 4, in the video interviewing. So that's the next step. So the difference between screening and interviewing is now we have this two-way kind of communication. And what I like about video and using video interviewing technology is, one is 2020 and the 2021, the pandemic showed us that we have to use video technology to do interviewing. Now, it's not necessarily just a Zoom call, right? I think video interviewing technology is much better because it allows us to do a lot of things like upload questions and decks and first to share information back and forth as we're interviewing. And again, there's so many ways to do this, but it really does allow two-way communication. Better than Slack, or better than a Zoom, or better than Skype. I love the actual technology built to do this because it helps drive a consistent interview process for everybody involved. And that's one of the issues. One is you can go really high end on this, and then you can really bare bones. They all offer something, right? It's bi-directional, it's teams, it's interview guides. It gives a consistent experience for both the hiring manager and the candidate. And that's one of the issues we face as recruiting pros, is that so often our hiring managers get on there and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm going to interview Tim one way, but I'm going to interview Sheila another way. It's like, no. How do we start to build in consistency? And that's what I love about the modern interview technology that's embedded video. And again, some of the technology that's out there gives great insights regarding AI and all the good stuff that's there. Last but not least, it's onboarding. So often what we do is we forget about, hey, how can short range help us actually onboard somebody in a really robust way? I love video because it does allow us to do this, right? How do your hiring managers send short little welcome videos to new hires and make sure that they feel wanted and desired even after they get the offer is really important. What about a coworker, right? Sending a video, or the CEO? that's one of the things I think about when we think about hybrid onboarding, remote onboarding, is we have to use more video to make people feel a part of our culture and our team. So what we